All right, so far it looks like we're seeing bans, two on each side. Looks like on TSM's side, they're more going against Impact, where they have two bans against him with the Set and the Ornn, kind of removing some of those stable team fight reliant champions, while also throwing one down to Core JJ with the Yumi to kind of just remove a pretty safe choice from the bottom lane and probably force them into something that's a little more playmaking that will not provide quite as much safety for tactical. Whereas from Team Liquid, they're just banning away 280 carries, taking them off of double lift. And then Zillion, a champion Bjergsen has played before, and not really a champion we see too much in the bottom lane, so mostly targeted against double lift and Bjergsen. It looks like Team Liquid are focusing on the carries more. And then we have, it looks like, a pick for Bjergsen. I don't really see the Syndra being played in support, but it could be possible. Bjergsen playing on Syndra, champion is very comfortable. Has played many times before, and also putting him on a carry always seems to be a good choice for TSM. Putting some ammo in the bag of one of their main carries. And then over on Team Liquid side, we got a pick for Tactical, Aphelios, a very strong champion, a very good pick for them, and someone that can both provide some lane pressure as well as very strong team fight ability. A champion that they can kind of play around a lot, that will give them a good amount of flexibility, both in how diverse his kit is, as well as just how high his damage is, can kind of allow them to play some objective control, play around that dragon pit, especially with, I'm assuming that's going to be a Trundle for Broxa that's going to be in the jungle, which Trundle can take camps and some of the major objectives, Baron and Dragon, pretty easily, pretty consistently. So being able to kind of play into that objectives more, let them play in the bot lane a little heavier, try to keep control over that Dragon pit, it will kind of allow some strength into Team Liquid from giving them objective control from the beginning. And then it's looking like, so we're going to be picking double lift up. They're getting a Kalista, which is going to be a good pick as well. Kalista allows for that same type of objective control, especially when paired with something like a Taric there, who's going to help keep her safe and provide that kind of heal, the CC that she really needs, being that she has no major dashes herself. So far, no form of hard CC over on Team Liquid, which is going to be, well, that's kind of the major way to stop Kalista, is by preventing her from auto-attacking and continuing to use those small dashes. It could be a Bard, so that's going to be a Bard for Core JJ, which for Core JJ that very much fits this style. It's going to allow him to roam. It's going to allow him to both provide some safety for Impact in giving him some healing, but it will also let him leave some healing behind and move on, jumping through the walls, roaming through the lanes, getting the speed buff from picking up the chimes that are going to let him go over, help out Jensen in his match against Bjergsen. I don't really see him roaming all the way to top lane unless there's a certain objective or something that calls him up there. But as a whole, it's going to allow some freedom and some distance around the map. There's a LeBlanc ban going out from TSM, which, they haven't picked Team Liquid has not picked a champion for Jensen yet, so that would be a good pick there. Taking, it looks like Team Liquid took Jarvan away from Spica, trying to keep that jungle pressure down. That's it. That is the only jungle ban thus far, though. And so with Trundle picked up, maybe we'll see. Oh, nope. Looks like Lee Sin is being taken away too. Team Liquid focusing their remaining bans pretty heavily on Spica. It looks like they're not really intimidated by anything that Broken Blade could bring to bear at this point. Having not picked any top laners themselves either, it looks like they're at this point kind of waiting to see what TSM are going to bring to bear in that final solo lane. Jungle wise, perhaps maybe like a Nidalee would be interesting, allow some stronger roaming as well to counteract the Bard, because also with Taric and Kalista, there's not going to be a lot of roaming coming out of that bot lane, because Taric is going to need to kind of babysit Kalista, especially against Aphelios, who has such high pressure in the early game. And are we going to get that Azir? That would be a really good pick for Jensen. We are. We're going to sow an Azir against Syndra in the mid lane. That's going to be a very interesting lane, being that both champions kind of have a good amount of poke and a lot of safety in the way they can play, with Syndra being able to CS with the orbs, being able to kind of hang back a little bit extra if needed, and Azir doing the same by just using the extended reach of those soldiers to make sure that he doesn't overextend. So mid lane is gonna at least looking like it's gonna be a pretty safe lane from both sides. I think the kill pressure is more onto Bjergsen's side once he hits 6, gets that ultimate, especially because Azir's ult doesn't really do a lot to help stop Syndra, because if Bjergsen can get that QE combo off and stun Azir, then he can follow up very quickly with a lot of damage that wall really doesn't help against. And we saw Biofrost there hover a Fiddlesticks, which would have been an interesting jungle pick, but instead opting for the Kayn, that mobility, along with the early game pressure that can pivot into a later game menace in either a very strong assassin or a duelist. And we're looking, so we got a Mordekaiser and an Aatrox, so some pretty staple champions in the top. Otherwise, it's looking like I'm seeing more mobility from... Well, really, neither side has all that much mobility. From TSM, it's coming mostly from the jungle, which is kind of where you'd expect it to be. And then Team Liquid, Trundle does not have the ability to move around the map that fast. His gank pressure is decent with a well-placed pillar and being able to drop that Frozen Earth, come out of the jungle moving with that movement speed buff, and then Bard being able to roam very effectively, as Bard can do, provide a stun, maybe assist in Broxah with ganking. I'm expecting to see Team Liquid put some of these resources to the mid lane. They have a roaming support, and they have a powerful jungler who can kind of assist that and provide some walls. So I'm expecting to see Team Liquid putting some of that pressure forward into the mid lane, trying to get Jensen the lead, trying to get him to early game sooner rather than later, and kind of getting that advantage over Bjergsen, who could possibly end up being the carry for Team Solo Mid, provided that he can get ahead and isn't put under too much pressure from Team Liquid. Now, the other place that I'm going to be looking is really heavily into the bot lane, because both Aphelios and Kalista can get a lot of power from getting ahead. Both of them can start to run rampant in a game, especially Kalista with her ability to take objectives. If Kalista starts getting ahead, then TSM is going to have a very easy time taking a dragon, taking an early Baron, pushing for a Rift Herald if they wanted to call double lift all the way up from bot lane. TSM is going to have a lot of advantage from getting leads to these certain people on their team. I feel like top lane in this instance is going to very much be an island as much as it ever is, just being that both Mordekaiser and Aatrox are very safe laners. Both of them have tools to keep themselves healthy, to just kind of trade some blows, do their thing. And later in the game, they're both going to become a bit of a monster coming into a team fight. Both of them have a very widespread amount of damage and a lot of self-healing, a lot of sustain. Mordekaiser, especially from Team Liquid, being able to remove someone from the fight, which I think should TSM get their lead and get it too focused on one carry, then that Mordekaiser is going to come in a lot of handy, being that if you could remove the carry from the fight should they not be able to get picked initially, which obviously the most preferred way to go here would be to just their carry, grab them first, blow them up, win the fight after. But most of the time, I would imagine that the team would be pretty good about keeping that carry safe and trying to do so, but it's hard to stop a Mordekaiser from walking into your team and ulting that carry, which, if it's Kalista, for example, even if he's not going to win, he can grab that Kalista with the intent that he will very likely die. But if he does that, pulls Kalista out of the fight, Team Liquid then takes the 4v4 where TSM is down a carry, that can actually give them a huge advantage, or at the very least, just allow them to win fights that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. So there's a lot of utility coming from that ultimate that I'm really expecting out of Impact. I'm expecting to see some very key ults there, if not used to just grab somebody, kill them quickly, get the stats, and then rejoin the fight. He could use it to isolate carries to provide a benefit to his team otherwise, which I think that will be more the use should he fall behind. If Impact ends up falling behind, I think his ult will become more of a utility to remove someone from the fight, because he will not be able to kill anyone worth killing, because like grabbing Biofrost, for example, grabbing Taric, sure, he could absolutely survive that, he could rejoin his team, he could remove Taric's utility from the fight, but he also would not really gain anything. I don't think Team Liquid would gain anything from that fight, because they're trading a tank for a support in that instance, And I think for the most part, if he starts to fall behind, there is not going to be a person on TSM that he can 1v1, that he can win that fight. And so his ultimate is going to kind of hinge a lot on how he does in lane. So in that regard, maybe we see some of the roaming from the Trundle and the Bard move to top lane to try to get him at least a little bit of a lead. Maybe Bard kind of roams around and keeps hold of bottom mid. Trundle ends up carrying more from mid top, and then they converge in the mid lane, which I do expect to see a lot of fighting in the mid lane. Both Syndra and Azir have a lot of poke potential, have a lot of damage potential, and both of them can snowball very effectively. Azir especially, being that he does not have the greatest mid game. Syndra will escalate very quickly. Syndra will get to where she can do a lot of damage to someone very quickly. And for someone, a carry, for example, like Aphelios, especially when he has a Bard, he doesn't have someone who can provide him the instant burst of high healing or the invulnerability of the ultimate like Taric can, then you're going to have these situations where Syndra becomes a lot more of a threat a lot quicker. But if with the roaming Bard, the Trundle, they can put a lot of pressure into that mid lane, they can create problems for TSM by making that Azir more of a threat, then that becomes a big problem, especially because Azir has a lot of tools to keep himself safe. I think Azir is one of the only people on this team, aside from maybe a Taric stun, that has the ability to stop that Mordekaiser from walking in and ulting him. Because, that Mordekaiser's on Team Liquid. He doesn't have to worry about that. He has to worry about the Aatrox running at him, which Azir I don't think is going to have much of an issue there. There's really not a lot of people that are super threatening to Azir on TSM's side in a 1v1. The Syndra, I think, is probably the scariest for him, just being that she could outburst him, win the fight, make it not a problem at all. But anyone else, the wall is going to be a huge issue. Kalista wants to jump around. Kalista wants to keep in it. And so putting a wall there could be a big problem. So I think we're going to end up watching the mid lane really heavily in this match. And it's where we're going to see a lot of contention and a lot of resources kind of pushed to that area. So now it looks like we are out into the game. We have a pretty standard spread on the map, keeping a watch over the river. It looks like we've got no real pushes into other territory. Bjergsen and Jensen going to see each other in the mid lane. A couple wards dropped. Nothing too unusual so far. Or JJ going to drop a little heal for Jensen to use. And yeah, I mean, I think, again, we're going to be looking at this mid lane a lot. I think that, I mean, you can kind of already see it with, it looks like Core JJ trying to give Jensen the ability to poke a bit. And even if he has to take some return fire with a couple of those healing relics, he will be able to just top himself back off and kind of push the lane a little bit, bully Bjergsen, try to get that early lead. Looks like there's going to be leashless first camps for both Spica and Broxa. Broxa starting red, and Spica starting with the wolves, as a lot of Kanes do with just his ability to clear the jungle so quickly. It looks like up here in the top, it looks like Broken Blade is going to try to probably be on the aggressive side here, as in the first couple levels, Aatrox is going to have a little bit of an advantage, especially with Impact not having an easy time getting that solo Q onto Aatrox. If he just hugs the minion, stays into that area very well. Both Core JJ and Biofrost starting with the shield, going to give a little more defensive stats, a little extra healing ability. So it's going to be a pretty safe bot lane, I think, as a whole. Both Tactical and Double Lift are both going to focus on the farm. Core JJ and Biofrost, I think, are going to be where the 2v2 is really dictated, because it's going to come from whichever support kind of plays that aggressive, the aggressive route, whoever's trying to push for damage, trying to make more happen, because both of them have the ability to sustain a lot. Both of them have the ability to heal, to CC, although Core JJ does have a little bit harder time with that, needing either the minions or the wall to assist, but he has the ability to kind of create more of a healing, a mass healing should the need arise. By placing those relics, having several of them behind, they will be able to recover much quicker should a bigger scrap happen, and they've had time to prepare. It's not something that's happening too often. It looks like Broken Blade is going to go ahead and recall. She shoved the wave into the turret. Brox has finished his blue and is going to be going for the scuttle. There's some pings going out from TSM. It looks like they are assuming some wards are placed in the bot lane. Jensen is bullying Bjergsen as much as he can, trying to push that lane hard. Brox is going to walk over a ward and get spotted. But it looks like he is going for bot lane. There's some pings going out from TSM. It looks like he is spotted. But they don't know he's in the tri-brush. Core JJ sitting in the bush there. If he can land the right stun. And Brox Rico is going to go and finish. They're going to get a little bit of lane pressure here because TSM doesn't know that Broxa has left. They just know that he is in that area. They have no vision of where he went or seeing him since. So that's going to allow Team Liquid to push a little harder, and TSM probably going to play safer for at least a few minutes here as they have to get a feel of where Broxa is. They're not going to assume he's going to stick around for that long, but better to play it safe here. It looks like Broken Blade has returned to the top lane. Impact has pushed the lane in, but not too far. Going to start trading, but Brox is right here coming in down the lane. It looks like he's not going to actually join the fight. Impact gets that solo Q for the extra damage, and Brox is now going to walk over a ward, which is going to show TSM that he has left, show where he is, and also probably make Broken Blade a little nervous as he is low enough on health, and that wave is not in his favor. But Spica going in for a gank on the bottom here. Team Liquid are overcommitted, and he's going to land no abilities and have to back off. No issue for Team Liquid there. In fact, they immediately start pushing back, keeping Double Lift and Biofrost as much under the tower as possible. Both Jensen and Bjergsen low in the mid lane as they're trading blow for blow pretty consistently here. The Comet adding a little bit to Jensen's damage, whereas Bjergsen went with Phase Rush, kind of allowing him a little more mobility, which, as far as keeping out of the range of Jensen's Sand Soldiers, that's probably going to be for the best during this laning phase here. Spica doesn't know that he's standing on a ward, so Team Liquid kind of free to do as they please there. Looks like Tactical... The whole bot lane is recalling, aside from Core JJ, who looks like he's going to try to delay the recalls from Biofrost and Double Lift and succeed there. So it looks like Tactical will be returning to the lane much faster. He is going to stop Biofrost, not manage to stop Double Lift, but that is enough as it is preventing Biofrost from having some item advantage over Core JJ. We haven't seen him roam yet, which I'm a little surprised. I kind of expected him to do a pre-6 roam, collect some of those chimes, get his own power level up, while also just adding some pressure to that mid lane, trying to get some more power into Jensen as early as possible. And it looks like Team Liquid are going for securing that vision, that area around Dragon Pit, pushing into the blue side jungle, making sure that TSM doesn't have any real vision control over the area, and Brox is going to go ahead and start the dragon, which, while TSM does know that he cleared the ward, they know that Team Liquid was in the area, they don't have any actual vision on the dragon itself. Spica going in. Biofrost checking the area. It looks like lots of people joining in. Bjergsen, Spica, Biofrost, Double Lift coming in from the side, and now the dragon has gone over to Team Liquid. A wall from Azir is going to stop any fight. And with that, Core JJ going in, stunning, misses the stun on Biofrost. Tactical dropping all of his abilities. Broxa going in over the wall, lands the bite, lands the dash. And now we have Double Lift, who's in trouble, but he's going to use the flash, get away. Spica going in. It looks like he wants more of the fight, going for Broxa. Bjergsen is here in to assist. He's going to throw out the Q, pick it up with W, but no stun so far. Bjergsen is stunned. He has to use the E to push back with no CC. Impact is going to come in, get the kill, and Broken Blade shortly to follow. Impact moving in. Broken Blade farther ahead of his team. 1v4, not in a good situation. He's going to get pulled back by Impact, but gets to the safety of the tower, and that is going to be the end of that. A big win for Team Liquid, getting 2 kills and a dragon on the board to start, with TSM not actually getting anything out of that but burned summoner spells. Both of the top laners spent their teleports. Jensen's teleport is still down. Bjergsen's teleport is still down from earlier, meaning that neither of them are going to have much pressure. So now looking at this replay here, it looks like they're going to Team Liquid is going to finish the dragon, and Jensen tried to go for, it looked like a flash ulti there, and missed the wall, not actually getting Bjergsen or Spica pushed into the rest of the team, but they were separated enough that the rest of Team Liquid was able to go down, finish off CoreJJ, and almost get double lift, except making him use the flash. And now, as this fight continues, Bjergsen overextending a little bit, getting caught by CoreJJ. And then the teleports come in from the top laners. Bjergsen almost goes down before they even get there. And Broken Blade jumping into a lost fight, having to spend a lot of power just to stay alive here. And he's overstaying for a long time, ending up having to burn his flash rather than just leaving the fight. Now it looks like Team Liquid might be looking around at the Rift Herald, trying to get some of that. They've got a lot of the ward coverage. They're trying to get the objective control with 2 vision wards there. They know that TSM does not have any eyes on that pit itself. 3 members top lane with Impact in the bot lane. It looks like they rotated their bot lane up top to try to keep or secure some more objective control, since Dragon is almost 3 minutes away still. TSM following suit, moving that kind of power lane up towards where the fight is more likely to happen. Top laners moving to the bot lane where they can just continue their small fight. Looking at it, it looks like Impact has gained a small CS advantage, pretty even in the jungle, aside from Broxa securing that kill onto Biofrost. A slight advantage for Azir in the mid lane, almost 10 CS. And Double Lift is out CSing Tactical by a fair margin, by 16, and he's caught by the Bard ult, which is going to end with a clean kill from CoreJJ and Tactical. CoreJJ now running over to the pit to help Broxa, which is going to be a pretty free Rift Herald at this point, as Bjergsen is pushed back. Spica is nowhere near. Double Lift dead, Biofrost recalling. They're going to have some pressure onto that top lane turret, as well as take the Rift Herald easily. In the bot lane, Impact, Broken Blade just duking it out, kind of continuing their own thing. Bjergsen and Jensen trading some blows there, but nothing major, no commitment, as Jensen just kind of has to keep the pressure up to allow Bjergsen to not even be able to take a look or try to interfere here. And that's going to be 2 plates for Tactical and CoreJJ off of that turret, a nice chunk of gold into their pockets. Spica now looking down at the bot lane, just taking his camp, and Team Liquid is having no hesitations. With Spica being in the bot lane, there is no way that this will not go down, possibly even take some of the power off of the second turret if they want to push it, but no, they are just looking to take their gold and get out. Spica down in the bot lane, looking for a gank onto Impact, but Impact seeing him, spotting him out, and looking for the recall, ending up in a little bit of a fight there with Broken Blade, as Spica looks to possibly head to the mid lane. And now we're going to look at that replay for top lane, what happened here with Double Lift. So Broxa coming in, they have no vision. They go to face check the ward, and Biofrost takes a lot of damage really quick off of a good stun from CoreJJ. Double Lift and Biofrost end up separated by the 3-man of Team Liquid. A good ulti from the Bard, going to stop Double Lift, allow them to get good positioning, and blow up the second half of his health there. Make an easy, clean play from Team Liquid that cost them nothing, secured them a tower and a kill. Now we're looking at that Dragon's up in 15 seconds, so Team Liquid is probably going to be trying to make a push there, especially with Double Lift and Biofrost still up top lane. They might try to take some turret plates in response, but right now, TSM has no pressure in the bot lane or really in the mid lane. It looks like Jensen making a good play there, dodging out on the CC and making that trade. And now that Impact is spotting out Spica, yeah, Broxa's just going for the dragon. There is no pressure on him because Spica is spotted. There's no threat of a counter smite. There's no threat of that being stolen away. Impact just kind of biding his time and making this turret not be completely free in the top lane, while a slow dragon down in the bot lane is fine. CoreJJ doesn't know that he's on a ward, doesn't know that he is seen, but Impact successfully manages to stop that from being taken, only being 2 plates, and a clean, easy dragon for Team Liquid, marking their second of the game, putting them to a 3,000 gold advantage in 12 minutes. Looking at the CS numbers, Double Lift is CSing well, getting a little bit of a CS lead, about 20. Otherwise, pretty even across the board, aside from the couple kills onto the Team Liquid side, giving them that bit of an advantage. Looks like Tactical and Broxa kind of hovering down in that bot lane. Core JJ now joining them. They may be looking for Broken Blade, but right now there's a 4-man in the mid lane going for Jensen. He's going to take a lot of damage, have to flash that wall, and he's going to get out cleanly. No issues there. Looks like Team TSM might have shown their hand a little too early, allowing him enough time to get out cleanly, even if it did cost him his flash. They're going to take 1 plate in return. Yes, they are. They're going to get that plate. Core JJ returning, allowing for Broxa and him to provide enough pressure that they are going to force TSM to back off here. Impact returning to the top lane. And there is now 3 members of Team Liquid in the bot side of the map in Spica's jungle, making problems for him. Meanwhile, Tactical in the bot lane, just pressuring that turret, continuing to get some plates. Double Lift and Impact in the top lane. Biofrost joining him. They're going to be able to push him into the turret very quickly. So far, not a lot of resources devoted to the mid lane. I expected more pressure to be there, but instead it seems that Team Liquid's game is to focus on the bot lane, rotate them around to the objectives, and just play a very objective-focused game, which is working really well for them. They're at a 4,000 gold lead, 2 towers, 3 kills up over TSM, who are really kind of not showing some of the best decisions. Spica feels behind Broxa most of this game. He's had now his red stolen, he's missed several objectives, and it's been what feels like him reacting to everything that Broxa does and not doing a lot of engaging on his own. He's not really making any plays happen. He's tried a couple times to gank and not done so successfully. And now it looks like he's going for another one with Bjergsen, who maybe nope, he's just gonna move on into his bot side jungle. And it looks like Core JJ's hovering around that mid lane. He's going to be spotted out there with a ward by TSM. But again, not a lot happening here. We've still got 2.5 minutes until the next dragon. There's another 5 minutes before Baron spawns. Team Liquid so far, it looks like they're trying to make something happen mid lane, or at the very least, they're looking to get control here. TSM pushing a little bit to get some vision into that red side bot lane jungle. Impact starting to fall back, knowing that there is a lot of reinforcement coming his way. Looks like both teams are kind of mirroring each other here. They're putting a lot of their pressure onto opposite sides, while the mid lane just keeps the 2 mid laners there, pushing it out, making sure that no one can get that mid lane pressure. Broken Blade going to be unable to defend this, as this turret will fall very quickly. Impact not even trying to do so. It looks like he's just farming the jungle, just getting a little bit of CS, making sure that he can get something out of this time. Tactical just pushing alone, being able to put enough pressure on Broken Blade, as all he has so far is a Hex Drinker. Not a lot of help against that Aphelios. Spica, so at the same time, just doing his Krugs, not really adding to the situation right now. Jensen being able to just free farm, starting to get a bit of a CS lead over Bjergsen. He's got that completed Nashor's Tooth. Bjergsen just sitting on a Ludens in exchange. It looks like Bjergsen picked up one of the rings that so far isn't really doing him a lot, as he only has a death to his name, no kills or assists, so no stacks on that. And it looks like with the respawning Herald, there might be some play here around the Baron pit. Core JJ going to get caught out by a Bjergsen stun, but there is Team Liquid here to return. Teleports coming in from Impact. And Spica is way out. Double Lift, going to end up getting caught. He's going to flash over the wall. They're going to be stuns in. Core JJ going to go down. Brox is going in at the front. He's going to ult onto Broken Blade, force him to fall back. Impact and Jensen on Biofrost. Broxa coming in as well. Biofrost is going to fall. Double Lift keeping damage going in. No one from TSM really trying to re-engage. The rest of them falling back. It seemed like there was some miscommunication, or at the very least some split decisions, as some of them seemed to want to stay and fight, and others just immediately fell back, giving up that fight, conceding a couple kills. TSM finally getting one on the board, having that bot lane turret from that push. They are now on the board in both areas, 1 turret, 1 kill, but the 4,000 gold lead still going to Team Liquid, and they're going to take this Rift Herald for free, with no real pressure from TSM to stop them. Brox is going to take this, going to get a second eye, and with just in time for Dragon, he may just drop this for the push, but TSM has control over the pit right now. They're going to start it immediately. Core JJ coming in, looking to get some vision, looking to possibly stall, cause some havoc, but with Jensen coming in, and Broxa, and Broxa as well. Is he gonna go for the smite? He's a little too late there. It's gonna be TSM getting that dragon, but they're stuck in the pit with Jensen. Gonna drop a couple sand soldiers, but Team Liquid looks like they're just gonna fall back, knowing that it's a 5v4 here. Impact pushing in the top lane. TSM going to get out cleanly, getting their first dragon of the game. Going to be an air drake, allow for some movement. Maybe that will allow for Spica to get that, to start to kind of make some of his own decisions, put more pressure on the map here. Core JJ looks like he's just harassing Bjergsen, not realizing the danger he's in, gets caught out. An ult from Tactical and pillar from Broxa. They're going to go in. Spica ulting Broxa, who starts running away from his team, keeping him away from the walls and giving him no escape possible. Core JJ going in far ahead of his team into the Taric ult, so he can't really do much to the other team. Impact going to land some good damage onto Biofrost. Broken Blade pushed out of the fight by Broxa's ultimate. Impact and Jensen now just finishing off Biofrost with a bite from Broxa. Tactical goes up, pushes in the lane, and they take that turret really quickly off of a really good fight that, in the end, just keeps adding to that lead now. 5,000 gold, 5 kills to 1, 4 turrets to 1. Team Liquid just kind of building a slow lead here that, for their team, I think is going to be a lot more in favor. Jensen is going to become a bit of a monster at the end of this, being able to build up his own, just get to those second, third items and start to be a real havoc. But he's now caught out. Spica landing a lot of damage, but Jensen pushing his way out, getting that QE. And Core JJ nearby to throw a little bit of heals. Going to drop that turret and kind of make sure that he cannot be followed. There is now several, looks like something happened in the bot lane here. Broxa and Impact, along with Tactical, pushing that turret. Biofrost and Double Lift, putting a staunch defense. Spica coming in. Core JJ not far behind. And it looks as though there's not going to be a fight breaking out. Double Lift able to clear those minions pretty quickly as he has that Blade of the Ruined King. And on Tactical, 2 items to Double Lift's 1. The CS lead shifting over to Tactical side, along with those kills and assists, has allowed him to get a decent item lead over Double Lift, making him much more of a threat, which is going to be a huge thing in Team Liquid's favor. They need TSM needs Double Lift to be a threat, and oh, it looks like we're getting a teleport that Team Liquid cannot see coming in from behind. Broken Blade popping the ult, coming in, looking to, and a great ult from Core JJ stops 3. Broken Blade has not engaged. In fact, now he's caught out away from his team. Team Liquid forcing back TSM, doing a lot of damage. All of that, the teleport burned, and it's not going to cost Team Liquid anything. They took no damage, doing a lot of damage into TSM in return. And now they're going to take a turret. This is going to be a free kill. And it looks like, oh, Double Lift goes down before the ult from Taric can even proc, allowing this to be a very good play for Team Liquid, as they are going to just take that second tier bottom lane turret and recall with no threats from TSM, no pushback, an 8,000 gold lead almost at 20 minutes, 6 kills, 6 turrets to 1 each on TSM's side. This game is getting more and more one-sided as the lead is just growing. Broxa now almost completed with his first major item after the jungle item. That is a Haunting Guise completed for Jensen. Bjergsen still not on his second item yet. 1 stack on that ring. Double Lift still not done with his Runnin's Hurricane, which is kind of a very important item for him. And now that's going to be an Executioner's Calling for Tactical, which is going to allow him to really cut that Aatrox down and make an easier time for... What was Spica doing there? It looked like he'd stopped on the corner. He wasn't actually moving around. And is he going to get out with the flash? Maybe. He's got the distance. Yeah, Spica's going to get out. Bjergsen waiting there with the stun just in case. But it looks like Team Liquid is looking for Baron, especially with forcing Spica back. They're clearing out the jungle, dropping Vision. TSM is going to have to contest this. They're going to have to try and do something here. Or Team Liquid is just going to claim this for free and run it in. And this is going very quick. They're burning this down with, it looks like, very little response from TSM. They're finally getting there, but it might be too little too late. Yeah, they're going to claim that for free. Spica goes down very quickly. Double Lift gets caught by the 3rd ult from Core JJ. And now... oh, he's going to have to flash over the wall, taking big damage from Tactical. Tactical follows up with his flash. They get that kill. Biofrost, it looks like it's only a matter of time before he goes down. He's probably just going to try and stall, see how much damage he can do. Impact is going to break off, move down the mid lane, start that push. So that way, once his team catches Biofrost here with a good pillar from Broxa, they're going to claim that kill, move into the mid lane. And if Bjergsen doesn't get out here, this could be a problem. Core JJ moving in quickly, trying to catch Bjergsen. At the very least, going to force him back, force him out. Impact's going to push up with those minions and start to move back into the jungle, allow the rest of his team to get this push. This is going to be a turret and an inhibitor for sure. Broken Blade recalling in the safety over there of top lane. Impact just starting the next dragon. they're moving on to what is going to be the third there, a 10,000 gold lead now for Team Liquid, as both Doublelift and Bjergsen really aren't as much of a threat as they need to be. 20 CS down in the top lane, a slight lead in CS for Spica, but with all of the emote flashing from Impact as he solos that dragon for his team, allowing them that pressure, allowing for Next to be the soul for them, and now putting a lot of pressure on TSM as Team Liquid was getting to the point where any major objective will kind of allow them to just end the game or push a big fight. And I mean, Tactical is only just growing bigger. A 20 CS lead, 3 kills and 5 assists up over Doublelift. Doublelift completing a second item, opting instead of a Runan's Hurricane for a Ginsu's Rage Blade, which, should he get it to 6 stacks, is going to allow him a lot of damage, but he has to ramp that up. CoreJJ landing a good ult onto Broken Blade. Looks like Tactical and Jensen moving in on a lot of damage, only going to do about a third of his health, but the 4 members of Team Liquid here are just going to push down that bot lane turret. Doublelift not being anywhere really to help defend that. Bjergsen, they're going to land a stun onto Broxa, but the damage is not going to be enough to really cause a threat. Jensen pushing in, getting that second inhibitor. Meanwhile, Impact pushing in on the top lane. Team Liquid staying for a little bit, trying to do some damage, push in some effort here. Jensen able to clear those minions very easily, very safely, while Broxa pushes in the mid lane, and they are starting to threaten those Nexus turrets, utilizing the Baron buff, which is... Oh, it looks like they're going to be a double stun onto Biofrost. Tactical and Jensen, pop that ult, but Doublelift and Spica both very low. Biofrost goes down. CoreJJ lands the stun onto Broken Blade. Impact coming in, pulling Spica and Doublelift off of the fountain, but he's taking a lot of damage from Doublelift in return. But the minions are on the Nexus turrets. Broxa and CoreJJ just making sure those fall while Impact goes in for the fight. Tactical force to Zonia's. They are toying with TSM, killing them in their fountain, taking the game, and that's going to be the... And just for fun, Spica making sure Jensen goes down at least once in this game as Team Liquid takes the Nexus, finishes this game. Now, that was very one-sided, allowing for Team Liquid to really just keep control of that game, making sure they had all of the objective control from pretty much start to finish, taking all but 1 dragon, 2 Rift Heralds, a Baron, making sure that when they did a play, they got a reward for it. Just a lot of good rotations from them, a lot of good choices and decision making, kind of putting the resources where it would give them the most benefit. And in the end, it just played out really, really well for them by getting leads onto 2 of their carries. Jensen, while not amazingly far ahead, he was far enough ahead that he was able to make a much bigger impact than Bjergsen. And being on that Azir, he was able to clear waves, he was able to push objectives. He had just a lot more kind of global pressure than Bjergsen was able to put with that Syndra, who was not threatening enough to the carries as she needed to be. But really, in the end, it was just good objective control, good rotations, good decisions. Team Liquid from start to finish just had a great performance and really showed a great overall just showing of what they can do in this game, and making TSM look like not a threat at all. It was a great performance, and we're going to need to see from the next game, we're going to need to see both Doublelift and Bjergsen kind of step up their own threat, their own ability to be a problem. But I think the biggest change that from TSM that we need to see is from Spica. We need to see him making more things happen, as a lot of this game it felt like he was playing reactively. He was responding to Broxa, he was responding to threats, not actually actively making any decisions himself, and in the end, allowing Broxa to kind of just run the field, claim those objectives, and ultimately just win the game for Team Liquid, making them have all the leads, all the advantages, all the turrets. A very, very decisive, good showing from their team.